Hi, welcome to Bent TV. I'm Matthew Wade, the editor of Star Observer.
And I'm Renee Wade, and I work within the disability sector.
Today we're here to talk about gay or queer siblings. I'm here obviously with my twin sister today, and I thought it'd be nice to kind of have a little talk about our journeys, what it's like to have an LGBTIQ sibling. So today I guess I wanted to start off by talking about what it was like to discover your same-sex attraction. Do you remember when you first kind of realised that you might be queer?
I've actually thought a little bit about this recently. I think for me, I can't exactly pinpoint when it was, but there's a few things that I think back to that at the time I didn't realise that's what it was, obviously.
Was it during high school? Or?
No, previous to high school
right.
even. Something that pops out in my head was, this is a little bit embarrassing.
No, comfortable space.
When I don't even remember how old I was probably about 9 or 10. I remember we watched the movie Austin Powers.
Was it the first one or the sequel?
The
or was
sequel,
it the one with Beyonce?
No, it was the one with Heather Graham in it. And I remember after watching that night I had a dream, and I remember thinking that I found her really attractive.
Right.
But then after that I think I pushed it out of my head a little bit, I didn't think anything of it. But yeah, I think as I was, finishing up primary school, start of high school is when I really started to realise.
But that was almost the first kind of little indication that you might
the first one that I can remember, completely. Yeah.
But then I guess because for me it was Ricky Martin in the Live and La Vida Loca music video. Even though these days I have no interest, he's not my type whatsoever. I just remember watching that, and for some reason, even as a really young person, having an idea that I felt differently than what the regular person would watching that music video. But I guess when you were in high school, then what changed? What made it further than just maybe something's different?
I think as I got older, and obviously you're coming into the time where you realise that you have feelings for people, or that type of thing. There are a couple of people that I remember thinking at the time, I thought that person's really pretty, or she was really cool. But now that I think back, I think I actually was attracted to the person. It wasn't just on that surface level.
Were there people around you in high school? Because again, we obviously were at the same high school, but most of the time, perhaps earlier on in high school, we hung around with different people. Yeah. So were the people you hang around with, were there other queer people there, or was it were you alone in that kind of journey at the start?
In the first couple of years of high school, I don't remember there being too many other, openly gay people or people who I even thought were potentially gay either. I remember when we were kind of getting into that year 9, year 10 is when there were a few people that you could tell. But again, that was only a couple of people, so it wasn't something that I felt that open kind of
talking about or
about,
exploring as well, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Did you have, I guess, at any point, and maybe this is narcissistic for me to ask, but at any point over that period were you like, Matt might be gay? I mean, as your brother.
Sorry to say this, Matt. I think I could tell from a pretty young age.
Yeah, super young, right?
Yeah.
I know it's a bit cliche, but you probably could tell when I was quite young, right?
Yeah.
But was there a certain point when you actually, rather than just think, he might be a bit effeminate, a bit camp, was there a point when you're like, oh no, I think he's actually gay, that's what it is? There
was a time in primary school where I think it would have been grade 4, I'm going to say. And I remember there was a couple of kids at school that were not so nice and calling you names and that type of thing. And the way that it really affected you, and I can tell when you're quite upset and when things really strike you. So for me, I think I thought, okay, this is actually hitting him at a personal level. He actually, could be gay.
And I think part of it was actually that for me as well, because as much as it sucks to be bullied, and it did suck, particularly in high school, to be honest, I cared about myself, getting abused verbally. But I cared also more because you were also at high school with me, so you would have had to witness or experience that even secondhand as well. So I kind of, nowadays I don't care anymore, but at the time I felt bad because of that. And I wondered if, that played into how you perceived me as well. I guess, did you, knowing that I probably was gay and also starting to discover that you might also be queer, did that play any, did that bear on your mind at all? Were you like, oh, well, I think he is and I might be feeling that way. Did that change the way you felt about it at all?
Not really. I think, and I'm sure you'll probably agree, when we were younger, we used to argue quite a bit, as most brothers and sisters do. But I think there was a point where I knew you were gay and I pretty much knew that I was, as well. And I think I kind of held it against you a little bit in that I was like, okay, well, he hasn't come to me and like spoken to me at all. And, I mean, it goes both ways, but.
The only third person I felt comfortable disclosing my sexuality to in early high school was a stranger on Habbo Hotel. And even that was like, for me, like, oh, I'm very uncomfortable doing this. But I was just curious because I guess for me, I know, I guess maybe it was mid-high school, maybe it was around year 9 or 10 like you were saying. I got the impression that, you were around some people that also were queer, and then I was like, oh, maybe, I didn't even know if you ever told me. Like, I just kind of had this sense that you might be around other people that were also either bisexual or queer, and I thought, oh, maybe, it wasn't as obvious to me as maybe it was to you the other way around. So it didn't necessarily play a major role in how I saw my own identity. I mean, I felt mostly alone in that journey, not anything about you, but just more that I just thought, oh, there's no one else around me really that I feel is really openly, obviously queer. But I was just curious with you, I guess, knowing or having a pretty clear idea that I might be, whether it was,
So when do you think that you actually knew that I was? Because I don't think we ever really had that
and
discussion.
actually in high school, I think for me it was more that maybe I'd heard secondhand or through somebody else that you might have been dating somebody at high school. And for me, I guess, even though at the time I was going through my own kind of personal turmoil in relation to my sexuality, because just to, I guess, clarify, we went to a country high school, so it was very conservative in many ways, and there weren't really any openly queer people. I guess, it didn't really play anything on my mind. I'd heard that you were dating someone, and I guess I just thought, because you hadn't expressed it to me, or I hadn't heard you kind of openly proclaim that was the case, I just assumed that was something that you didn't want openly talked about. So I just figured like, it's your own journey, it's your own time. And I guess I was going through my own stuff as well, so I thought I'd leave it. But it's interesting because I guess during then, I mean, not to jump forward, I mean, we'll stay there for the moment, but during that time, I mean, despite us both kind of in some ways going through parallel experiences, that we weren't actually being open about it with each other. So it's just interesting how, I guess everyone has to go through it themselves. But you had an idea, and I had an idea at a certain point that you were queer as well. But just that, we're both siblings, we're twins, we're going to the same high school, and we're going through similar experiences, but just we weren't open about it. I guess so. It was essentially year 9 or 10 that you basically were, you had an idea like, this is who I am. It was locked in, or was it still kind of ambiguous?
I think I was probably at that time questioning whether or not I was only attracted to females or attracted to both male and female. So I think that was probably at that stage I was thinking, okay, I'm definitely attracted to females, but whether or not it was, a bit more open or not,
Well, that's all we've got time for in this segment on Ben TV. Thanks for joining me, Renee. We'll be back shortly to talk a little bit more about what it's like to grow up with an LGBTIQ sibling. Thank you.